magic of model kits allows for the replication of a massive ocean liner down to a small scale. This particular ocean liner kit, Heller's Queen Mary 2, is comprised of over 2,000 parts. At the factory, an assembly team packs all the components of the kit into the designated packaging. Workers place one of each of the model kit trees into the box on assembly lines. This also includes the decal sheet as well as the instruction manual. Well, hello once again, my friends. I'd like to welcome you to another video, and this is going to be another vintage model kit video. I hope you enjoyed the little introduction. I thought it was pretty cool to actually have video footage of inside the Heller model company, and specifically when they were preparing this model for shipment. They were putting it into like a bag. They don't shrink wrap them. They kind of have like some tape on it, but they put it into a bag. So I thought that was really cool. And this is the Queen Mary 2, this lovely lady. Now, when I bought this, the condition, they said it was in new condition. And as I look at the box, and I'll show you guys on the inside, it's really, really not new condition. This is pretty lousy. They have since come out with reissues of this, like Revell. They have the reissue. I think Heller did an upgrade kit too, but this one, I only wanted it specifically because of the edition and because I had seen it. I got the video of inside the factory on the production line. But anyway, I want to show you the Queen Mary 2, this absolutely beautiful ship. This is from the Cunard line, Southampton, New York, Miami, Rio de Janeiro, and Hong Kong. And this particular kit is 52902. And this is the Queen Mary 2, part of the Cunard line fleet. Those of you that do not know what happened to the White Star line, of course, White Star and Cunard were in competition for a long time. And of course, Cunard had the Lusitania, the Mauritania. And in order to trump that, White Star came out with the Olympic class ship. They had the Olympic, the Titanic, and the Britannic. And what ended up happening with White Star is they actually merged with Cunard. So both of them are still around to this day. This is 2023. And the White Star line and Cunard are actually together. They're merged, and they're still going strong. And this is one of the pride of their fleet, the Queen Mary 2. So this model is from Heller. And this is a vintage model, and just looking at the side of the box, the pictures are not contractual. Plastic model kit ready to assemble and to paint. Cement and paints, Heller included. So this has the paint and brushes included with it, as you can see right there. It's got the glue, the paint, and the brush. Now we look at the side of the end of the box. You can see the same thing. There's the paint, and 575 millimeters by 75 millimeters ECH 1/600 scale. You can see the outline of the ship, and finally the ship herself. And you'll see the ends are usually the same. Nope, this end is different. So you can see Heller Queen Mary 2, and we get that same beautiful illustration like we do on the cover. And the dimensions in 1/600 scale, and the paint, glue, brush 52902. The end or the side of the box, we got some lovely pictures of the ship on the inside. You can see that. I'm not sure where that is, but it's like a lounge or a bar area. And we've got the swimming pool. And looks like we've got a dining room. Of course, this is the ship that I want to be taking my wife on the transatlantic voyage with, from New York to Southampton. And from Southampton, I want to take her to Belfast, Ireland to see the Titanic Museum. That's kind of like been my dream vacation. Looking at the end, or the other side of the box, the back, we've got that beautiful Queen Mary II, the QM2 logo, the Cunard line. And you can see some of the pictures, the Balmoral duplex, the Junior Suite, Cabin B1, Cabin C1. We've got Todd English and the Winter Garden. And we got some more pictures on the bottom. And there's a lot of writing, but most of it is in, it's Heller. I'm not sure if it's German. Let's see, I'm gonna look for the English. Okay. Designed like a real transatlantic liner, streamlined and majestic, the Queen Mary II can sail the seven seas. In style, she is the longest, the widest, and the most expensive liner in history and represents the height of the shipbuilding industry. Each cabin has an interactive computer and television set. It is possible to send and receive emails, to choose a film among dozens, to make a beauty care appointment at the salon, the center, or to put one's name down for the sightseeing trip, right from the coziness and comfort of one's cabin. True to tradition, each different class of cabin has its own restaurant, which looks out onto the sea. Queen Mary II offers 10 restaurants, 14 bars, and clubs. Her exceptional size has enabled her to diversify the passenger areas, sports grounds, 5 swimming pools, 8 jacuzzis, boutiques, and roomy lounges. I think that's everything on this side that's in English. And we got some more on this side. We got a diagram of the ship, and we have the numbers, and this is really nice. So I'm going to put this up in high definition, so if you want to pause it, you can actually check it out. All of the compartments, the sections of the ship. And on the bottom, you can see we've got the deck layout. As soon as you are on board, the grand lobby, 3 stories high, will impress you with its magnificent staircase. 14 passenger decks will enable you to move about quite freely, according to your preference and center of interests. 955 of the 1,310 cabins have a balcony. That's nice. You got to have a balcony, right? Kind of like your own private little promenade. And you can go to www.heller.fr. And you can see the barcode. And I believe this was released 2004. Let's see. Yep, 2004. This model was released. So that's the box. Pretty impressive size on the box. And we're going to make sure that we don't disturb our other lady. Actually, let me move. This is the Agora models, the Titanic that we're working on. Always fun to be doing, featuring the Titanic, my favorite ocean liner of all time. So why don't we figure where we can put her where she won't be in the way. Let's move the scissors and we'll put it right here. Okay. And this is kind of a flip open box, so. Now the first thing that I had noticed is, like I said, this was listed as a brand new kit. Well, not only is it not new, but unfortunately, you guys can see someone already started it, because this section is separate as the bow is separate on this model kit. And you can see it, it's all, the glue is sloppy and there are gaps. but it's already been started, and that's not what I wanted because I don't plan to make this model. I've got a special one to show you guys, the Platinum Edition from Revell, but that'll be a different video. This one was not my intention to build it. I just wanted it because it was vintage, and they said it was in new condition. And not only did they start it, you can see the base broke off, and of course this needs to be painted, so I don't know why they would have put the base on. I don't see the other part of the base. I don't see it. Maybe we'll get to it if it's even included in the kit. Anyway, taking a look at the hull, you can see it's got the flat hull. You can see where the propellers are going to go. There are 4 screws to this ship. And you can see the front where it's got that kind of modernized, streamlined area that comes up and kind of breaks the water. And you can see the thrusters that allow her to go in and out of the dock, or when she needs to move side by side. And again, whoever glued this, they never even took the flash off. And it needs to be clamped and glued. It needs to be cleaned up. But again, this is not what I wanted to make. I wanted to keep it as is for the value of the kit. But one thing you can notice right off the bat how great it is, look at the windows. They're all open. And you guys that follow my channel, you know how much I absolutely lighting. I love to light everything. My latest project is the Tornado 200. I'm actually lighting that. And I just love lighting things. It's just, to me, it brings it out. But you can see they're nice, they're crisp, they're clean. They're nice and thick. The hull is probably 1/8 of an inch, which is a good thickness. It's very solid, and it's one piece. There's no seam. So like the Revell, it has the solid kind of hull. You can see the back, the way it's made. So this was 2004, so it is got some nice detail on it. And there are windows that somebody already put in as well. And again, this is supposed to be new. It's started, there's glue lumps in places, there's pieces broken off. So that is the hull. And looks like we just got a lot of plastic. I don't know what this is. It's disturbing. You can see there's a hair on it. Yeah. I'm going to put this aside because I'm not sure what that is. And looks like we have the decal sheet. And it's kind of crinkled. Hopefully you guys can see where Queen Mary 2, Southampton. And Queen Mary 2, the logos. We've got the tennis court and a basketball court. And this is good. This will come in handy because if you guys know my channel, I've done the SS United States. And that was the 1955 edition from Revell. And the United States seems to have a tennis court on every deck. What I had to do is I had to do it by hand. And I had to take a toothpick and put the lines in. Well, you could imagine it did not come out looking like that. So that's a great idea. And actually the re-release of the SS United States by Revell, they did feature the decals to go on the tennis courts. You can see this area where it says winch only. I'm looking forward to seeing where that would go. And you can see some of the circles. I don't know if those are portholes or not. We got some blue blocks. The windows that are going to go on the bridge or along the bridge, because the ship is actually, the windows are outlined in black. You can see the decals. I would probably go ahead and actually paint Instead of putting the decals on, I think it would look cleaner. Let's see, we've got the flags. I hope the camera can pick that up because that's pretty tiny. And we've got some pinstriping on the other side. Looks like we've got the doors that'll go along the decks, the deck houses. We've got more of the windows with the painted area around the windows. Let's see, it looks like these are the doors, could be for the cabins. And again, I'm really looking forward to showing you guys the little surprise. I've got the Queen Mary 2, the 1/400 scale from Revell, and it's the Platinum Edition with the decks, and it's going to be really fun to show that to you guys. That's why I had no plans on making this one, but I don't want to keep it like this. I'm going to probably send it back because I wanted it new condition, unused. You can see there are quite a bit of the deck decals for the doors. And on the bottom, we've got more on the decks, the boat deck and promenade deck openings for the doors and the windows. And we've got a lot of the cabin doors. Of course, each one, most of them would go out to a balcony. And we've got 52902, Queen Mary 2. And that's the decal sheet, M09122301. So it's a pretty big decal sheet, but there's not really a whole ton on it. So those are the decals. And let's see, for paperwork, let's see, what's that on the bottom? Let's see, we've got the warnings, you know, the hazardous materials, the caution, choking hazard, keep out of reach of children, things of that nature. And it's in different languages. So that's what that is. And is there any other paperwork? It looks like we have the sheet for the decals. I don't know why they wouldn't put the decals back into the bag with that to protect it during shipping. And I actually don't see the glue. Well, here's the other part of the base. You can see where it was glued and broken off. Looks like we got a couple of paintbrushes. I don't think that one came with the kit. I think just this one did, because I've shown you the Titanic, where we've had a brush like that in it. There's no glue either that I can see. Interestingly, though, it does come with the rigging. So I don't know how much rigging is on the ship. We'll put that aside. Again, the paint is missing. The glue is missing. It's already been started. There are pieces that broke off. So this is not in new condition. And for the price that I paid for this, I just as soon return it and get one that's actually not started. And we got the owner's manual, Queen Mary 2. 52902, the Queen Mary 2 from the Cunard line. We got that same beautiful picture like we have on the cover of the box. Let's see, we've got some different languages. I'm sure it's information on the ship, but we don't have the English. It looks like this side. Okay, so I'll get to that in a minute. Let's look at the... Oh, do they have that in English? Yes, okay. In May of 1998, the managers of the company Carnival Cruises, the first cruising company in the world, asked the naval architect Stephen Payne to design a giant-sized transatlantic equipped with entirely new facilities in order to take place with the famous Queen Elizabeth II. within the fleet of their subsidiary company, Cunard. Stephen Payne, who had a passion for the great liners of the 30s, very quickly defined the outline for this exceptional ship, which would become the biggest liner in the world, measuring 345 meters long, 41 meters wide, and 72 meters high, the equivalent of a 23-story building. The architect brought into light the best aspects of the past and conveyed them to the present. The breakwater, the forecastle, is based on a very elegant one designed on the Normandy. As for the facade and the shape of stairs, it is very much inspired by one found aboard the Queen Mary I. However, the steps have given way to a gentle slope. The Queen Mary was fitted out with open bridge ailerons. The idea was to be taken up again, but this time they are closed in order to brave the bad weather in the North Atlantic Ocean. The Queen Mary II had borrowed from the Queen Elizabeth II the wheelhouse as well as the outline of the chimney. However, the latest Cunard ship is well and truly a 21st century ship, harmonizing the advantages of a cruise ship as well as a transatlantic liner. At first sight, these two conceptions go against each other. A cruising ship opens out into the sea, thus enabling the passengers to enjoy an unrestricted view. However, it is badly equipped to brave a storm. On the other hand, a liner is designed to resist strong waves, but is de facto very closed in. Therefore, the challenge was to make the QM2 attractive for cruises as well. The passengers being very receptive to cabins with balconies, Stephen Payne designed many with them. However, to avoid the openings of some of the cabins to go underwater, should there be bad weather, he took special care to place them quite high. Consequently, the public premises on board Queen Mary II occupy unusually low decks on a liner. This is to provide a better stability, given the size of the large rooms one can find on board, and sufficient free space higher up to fit the decks with balconies. These made of corrugated iron. There the cabins look out onto the sea, but are also protected by big openings fitted into the side of the hull. This layout reminds us of the Rotterdam, which belongs to Holland America Line, another subsidiary of Carnival. The rear of the Queen Mary II has a rather peculiar shape. Its round-shaped design to evoke the aspect of traditional ships ends at the waterline and tops a flat shape. Characteristic of the modern ships, the design which has already been used for Eugenio C, well adapted to pod liners, QM2 being driven by 4 pods of 21 megawatts each. Advantage the engines, and the propellers, the shafts, are not inside the liner anymore. Therefore, the space gained enables to increase the number of cabins, thus the profitability on each voyage. Queen Mary II, power supply by 2 diesel engines and a gas turbine, which produces a booster effect, thus a sudden and sharp acceleration whenever needed. The speed given, 29.35 knots, can actually reach 30. But to whom entrust the building of the giant like a Queen Mary II? Well, in November of 1999, Cunard allowed market forces to operate between several European shipyards. Chantier de l'Atlantique, it belonged to the Alstom Group, did all that they could to carry off this amazing deal of nearly $800 million. The entire research department set to work to draw up a very precise overall plan of the ship and to think up significantly to draw technical solutions which would appeal to Cunard. By mid-March of 2000, Cunard and Alstom Marine agreed, and the Queen Mary II would come into being, the very place where the Normandy, the France, now became Norway, were born. 3 years of unremitting work, one of which being entirely given over to studies and the engineers' deliberations, were necessary to achieve the biggest liner in the world, equipped with the most luxurious facilities ever seen. As soon as they embark, the cruise passengers are welcome in the grand lobby, an atrium of about 15 meters high, which leads up to 4 glass elevators, and an impressive sight indeed. Everything here is colossal, like the project in the restaurant Britannia. 1,347 guests can all enjoy a meal at the same time while watching a flurry of activity. The head waiters and waiters who tirelessly pace up and down the room. 41 meters wide, 9 meters high, decorated with the biggest fresco ever contemplated by any sailor. On board, one can find a planetarium in which 473 people can admire the fantastic sight of the sky recreated as a semi-spherical screen, 13 centimeters in diameter and 8 meters in depth. This is Magic, the Royal Court Theater, before the eyes of 1,094 spectators. The orchestra pit withdraws, the stage resolves, and the steps, which are mobile, appear and disappear, everything bathing in light due to the bank of the multicolored spotlights. The stability, despite the swell, making passengers completely forget that they are actually in the middle of the ocean. A library of 8,000 books, the largest ballroom ever fitted out in a ship, lit up by 2 chandeliers weighing 200 kilograms each, and the walls covered with a rosewood veneer from India. Numerous restaurants, and some of them can eat at all times. And even the Thalassotherapy Center, giving the final touch in this exceptional ship, the replacement of the Queen Elizabeth II. However, this is nothing compared to the amazing luxury of the forward suites located beneath the upper deck, with their private elevator to enable movie stars and key figures to walk around without being disturbed, and the 5 duplex apartments which can be found at the stern of the liner. 2 of these suites measure 209 meters each. Furthermore, this huge space is adjustable. You only have to let the partitions slide. Aboard the Queen Mary II, the smallest cabin measures 18 meters, which is far superior to the size one can find on other ships. Altogether, 2,620 passengers can embark and are waited on by 1,254 crew members, which gives the Queen Mary II the highest space passenger ratio in the world. Following 2 widely publicized successive tests which were carried off by the Belle Brittany, and which were crowned with success, the ship was officially delivered to its owner by the Chantier de l'Atlantique on the 22nd of December 2003. The Queen Mary II, officially named by Her Majesty the Queen, performed her maiden voyage on the 12th of January 2004 between her port of registry, Southampton, and Fort Lauderdale. In Florida, she is commanded by Captain Ronald Warwick. And you can see the specifications of the ship. She's 345 meters long. She's 41 meters wide with a draft of 10 meters. The headroom is 62 meters on 15 decks, and the height of the keel to the chimney is 72 meters. She is 150,000 tons. Now, think about that number. 150,000 tons. The Titanic, as immense as the Titanic was, she was 42,000 tons. The Queen Mary II is 150,000 tons. That's just mind-blowing. She's able, for the maximum capacity of passengers is 3,090. And she can carry 2,620 passengers comfortably. She has 1,253 British officers, international crew, and she can have a maximum speed of around 29.35 knots. She has 2 gas turbines and 4 electric diesel engines, generating 157,000 horsepower. And again, think back to the Titanic. The Titanic had the 2 huge reciprocating engines, and she had the steam turbine in the middle. She was a triple screw liner, and the Titanic generated 30,000 horsepower. The Queen Mary II has 157,000 horsepower. That's just crazy. She generates 116 megawatts, enough to light a town of 200,000 inhabitants. She's got 4 pods that are fixed to the azimuthal pods, means can turn in all directions and are thus used as a tiller. And the cost was around 780 million euros. I don't know how much that is translated to dollars. I'll look it up and I'll put it up, but 780 million euros. The public premises has a surface area of 26,800 square meters. 17 decks for the passengers, 1,310 cabins, 955 of which have balconies, and some of which have duplex apartment and penthouses. 300 works of art worth 4.4 million euros, 5 swimming pools, 8 jacuzzis, 20 or so restaurants, bars, clubs, rooms to relax, and others to enjoy parties. The Royal Court Theatre can seat 1,094 people. Illuminations, cinema with a planetarium showing films in 3D, a winter garden, a casino, a bookshop, a library, an outdoor cinema, and I don't want to mess up this word, Thalassoptropy Center with 50 employees. So this is quite an impressive ship. And again, it shows the same, but in another different language. So this ship is just immense. Very, very, very modern. And very much so when it comes to the Titanic. I use the Titanic as the measuring stick, and this ship is just so immense. Think about how big the Titanic was. She was gigantic. One of her engines, think about it, one of Titanic's reciprocating engines was the height of a 3-story building. Yet the Titanic would be dwarfed by the Queen Mary II. That's how immense this ship is. Okay, so moving on to the instructions. You can see we've got the paint, and we've got the paint key. And it shows you the instructions on how to take everything off and clean the parts and painting. So we move on to step 1. And you can see it's the aft end of the hull. And we're putting on those pods for the propellers. Incidentally, that's a great idea. Whoever thought of this, instead of having the shafts go all the way to the engine room in the ship, these go up on top. They're each individual where they can move and rotate, and they have the propellers on there. And it's a great idea because this takes up all of the space that the engines would have taken, and now they're able to put more space for passengers. Moving on to step 2, you can see this piece that's going to go on, and I had shown you guys that they had already started this. For some reason, it's not all molded together, because this is a separate piece, the tip of the bow, and we've got the separate pieces for the bottom, as you can see. And for some reason, it's all separate. But anyway, the person who started this didn't do a very good job. And you can see the thrusters that go on either side. And you can see they're supposed to have little fans that are in them. And the person that put this together didn't even put the fans in. They didn't even put the fans in, so they didn't do a very good job. You can see step 3. This is where we're actually putting on the base. And it looks like we're putting the windows inside of the hull. And again, I wouldn't have done that until after the hull was painted. Let's see, step 4. You can see it looks like we're putting on the promenade, or the sides of the promenade decks. And you can see a couple of the bulkheads that are going to go in. And it looks like we got step 5. You can see the paint key. It looks like we're putting some of the things onto the deck, or the promenade deck. looks like we're going to put on the many decals that are going to go on either side, port and starboard. And on to step 8. One thing about Airfix and Revell, companies like that, they have really fantastic instructions. You can see the booklets are very well illustrated. You can see the paint guide. Step 9, looks like we've got the front of the ship underneath the bridge and wheelhouse. And you can see the decals that are going to go on. And we get the aft end of the ship. You can see all the windows that are going to go in. And I think these are, yeah, look, these are the lifeboats. Got a couple of these. We got 14 of these, and we've got 8 of those lifeboats. Definitely come a long way since Titanic. And let's see, this is step 12. You can see the ship starting to come together, the hull. And what are these? Little windows that are going to go on the side, like balcony windows. And we got more of those for the other side of the ship. I guess this would be the starboard side. And again, you can see the decals on the bottom. Step 14, well, it looks like we're putting on the, those are for the lifeboats. You can see the lifeboats that are actually going to go on. Nice. A lot of detail on this ship. And as big as it is, it's 1/700 scale. You know, the ship is immense. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. A lot of lifeboats on this thing. On step 16, looks like we got another deck that we're going to put things on. And look, you can see the exhaust, the chimneys or the stacks. And we're putting on the rails, the railing, and we have you can see the addition. I think that's for the rigging. And you can see the paints that are going to be used. Again, there's no paints that came in this one, so that's missing. So step 17, you got the main smokestack. So I wonder what these would be for. And you can see the radar, what I perceive to be the radar. And we got the bridge, the wheelhouse in the front. And step 18, you can see how it's really coming together. We got those decals that are going to go with the aft end of the ship. And the pinstriping, they're going to go on the smokestack. And you can see the decals that are going to go on beneath the bridge. And it looks like we have the propellers going on. Step 19, you can see we got the whole side of the ship with the paint scheme, and forward and aft. And what is this? Oh, this looks like the parts guide. So we got the main hull. And let's see, we've got this tree. For this ship of this size, there's really not like a ton of parts that comes with it. You can see we got these 3 trees, and it's got the base. And you can see the smokestack and the thrusters, the radar. And the last tree, you see a lot of the windows, looks like the bridge and the wheelhouse. And flash service. I guess if you're missing something, or you want to get Now the part, let's see, do they have a website? Flash service at hellerjoustra.com. And that's the instruction manual. So there was a lot involved in that. And that's all the paperwork. So let's show you guys some of the trees that are in here. So it looks like we have a couple of the propellers as well as the mounts that the lifeboats are going to go on. And looks like a little lifeboat right there. And the bottoms, tops, well, not the tops, but the bottoms of the lifeboats. And interesting, we have the windows, but the windows they're not clear. They're actually like smoked. I wonder why they're not clear. But you can see the tops of the lifeboats right there. It's pretty cool. And we've got the bridge, the wheelhouse, and they're clear. That's great for lighting. You can perceivably light it up and then put the decals on. That would be nice. Or I could envision a photo etch going there for like a aftermarket kit. Let's look at this now. We're going into the actual decks of the ship. And I think this could be the promenade deck or the boat deck. Looks like it could be the boat deck. You can see going forward, it's got those two. I'm not sure if they're antennas. Lovely. And I think this is probably the boat deck because you can see where the smokestack is going to go. You can see the wood paneling. And we got the aft end. Look at the little swimming pool. And I'm sure those are jacuzzis on either side. That's probably what the the decals were, the blue squares. As well as the round decals for the water. Let's see. And we've got the sides where the promenade decks are gonna go. And look at where the cabins are. So there's a lot of decals that are gonna go on for all these cabins. And I think this is looks like the port side. And here's the starboard side. Amazing. And we have the promenade side. And you guys that follow my channel, it looks like the Star Trek insignia. And you can see the wheelhouse, or the bridge is going to go up over this section right here. Can you imagine looking out one of these windows? This is just a amazingly grand ship. I can't wait to go on her. We're going to be booking our transatlantic voyage. It's going to be amazing. I love the ship. I want to do a specific history to her, and then I want to give you guys a guided tour when we're actually on her. And it's just going to be ocean liner frenzy because, of course, the reason I'm doing it is I want to do it because of Titanic. I want to be able to take my wife to dinner in a tux. We're going to go ballroom dancing. Then once we're in Southampton, we'll go to Belfast, and then we'll go to the birthplace of Titanic and the amazing, amazing Titanic Museum. I can't wait for that. And let's see, this looks like it could be a duplicate of the first tree that I showed you. You can see the radar, and we've got more bottoms of the lifeboats. And a detail. Again, this is 1/600 scale. So it's a pretty respectable size because she's huge. You get a 1/700 scale of, of the Bismarck and it would be small, but look how large this is. 1/700 scale. So when I show you guys the 1/400 scale, it's going to be immense. what do we got left? Looks like we have more of the bridge area, perhaps the wheelhouse, and we got the bulkheads that are going to go on the inside. And that's basically it. There are a couple of pieces. So these are what I was telling you guys about, how there's 4 of them. They go on the back, and they're all independent. It's a really good idea. And I only see 2 of them. She's a 4-screw ship, so there should be 4 of them, but I only see 2 of them. And these are going to go right in like that. Just like that, and they all move independently. So, there are just different pieces of the plastic left. There's this, again, that goes on the back, the aft end of the ship. And finally, we have the smokestack. So that's basically the ship, the Queen Mary 2, which is really nice. Again, I was led to believe that this was brand new, in new condition. Even the fact that it was open, I was okay with it. But I had wanted this kit because of the addition, and I have the footage of inside the Heller model company. That's why I wanted this particular one, and I just wanted to keep it in my collection. But sadly, this one has been started. There's pieces broken off. There's parts missing. There's no paint. There's no glue. There are pieces missing for the ship, and pieces are broken. So I'm not going to keep this. I'm going to send it back because it's not what I bought. So I'm still on the lookout for a brand new version of this particular release, just because of nostalgia. I like having the footage of inside the factory and showing the boxes, and it was this particular box that they're working on. So my friends, I wanted to show you this absolutely spectacular ship. Absolutely gorgeous. And this is the 1/700 scale. And you can see she's a pretty respectable size. And soon I'll be showing you guys the Revell Platinum Edition of the 1/400 scale. I've got that one, and I want to do a complete history of the Queen Mary 2, and I want to devote some special time to her. I want to share with you guys the process that we're going to go through when it comes to getting the booking, the voyage, and the ship herself, and the shots and the video, and it's going to be so much fun. So my friends, until the next video on the Queen Mary 2, I thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, I'll talk to you soon.